Hello and welcome to the Productive on Purpose podcast. Are you a high-achieving woman of color who struggles with imposter syndrome, procrastination, and self-sabotage? Are you tired of going to bed each night hoping that tomorrow will be a better day, only for it to be more of the same? Are you sick of empty affirmations that make you feel good but don't actually lead to change? And are you over being shamed and yelled at to do the work with no insight as to how to get it done? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then friends, you are in the right place. I am your host, Dr. Kimmy, an award-winning, board-certified physician and professor. I am also your purpose coach. Here on the POP Podcast, we are about actual transformation. This podcast will provide actionable strategies to help you walk in your purpose. Let's get started. Hey squad, what up? Welcome to another episode of the POP Podcast. Y'all, I am so excited that you are here. You are still here, binging these episodes. That is what's up. Listen, okay, a couple of things. If you really are enjoying the content on the podcast so far, and we're really just getting started, there's a lot more where this has come from, I would really appreciate it if you would do me a favor. The best way to get this podcast out so that other people can learn about it is to do one of two things. Number one, well, first of all, make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you utilize. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Outcast, whatever it is, just make sure you subscribe. But then do one of these two things. Number one, go to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Please leave a positive review if you have found value in this podcast. There's something about leaving reviews. Apple takes note of that, and they'll start putting this podcast in front of the eyes of more people. And I really think that this message is, like I said, for women of color who are struggling with imposter syndrome. And the more I do this work, the more I see that there are so many of us that need to hear this message. So please do me that favor. Leave a review. Just let me know how you're liking the podcast. It really would help. And then the second thing you can do is share this. If you know a woman of color, a Black woman, someone who has, achieved a certain amount of success in their life, but is still struggling with procrastination, maybe perfectionism, anxiety, share this podcast with her. Invite her to be a part of the squad. I am on a mission to make sure that we are all living our God-given purpose. And here's why. My purpose in life, I truly believe, is to inspire others to live their purpose. Because if you're living your purpose, imagine a world where we are all living out our purpose. If every single person in this world was given the opportunity and had the courage to live out their purpose, their full God-given purpose, imagine what kind of world we would live in. We would be able to eliminate all the diseases in the world. I truly believe that. We would be able to eliminate poverty. I really believe God has placed everything in this world that we need to sustain it. But we are all, first of all, we got a bunch of evil people running around doing all sorts of evil things, not living out their purpose. But then for those of us who are good people, sometimes we feel stuck. And it is truly my mission to get us to step out of stuck so that we can start to move toward our purpose and make this world a better place, y'all. So that is my mission. That's why I'm here. If you vibe with that mission, if it resonates with you, then you're a part of the squad, and then share this with someone else so that they can learn about it as well. All right, y'all. I am so excited to dive into episode 2. Episode to pick up my story right where we left off. So in the last episode, if you haven't listened, go back to episode 1. Episode 1 talks about basically how my initial sense of imposter syndrome and my initial like anxieties, like where that came from. And we all have a story like this. I'm sure you have a story like this. It comes from somewhere. It really does. And I, through therapy and deep work, have been able to uncover where mine stems from. But I want to tell you guys how it all came to a head, y'all, how it all came to a head in residency, and how after residency, well, during residency and then continuing into my faculty life, how I recognized my imposter syndrome. Residency was the first time I truly recognized it. And then it wasn't until this past year, 2019, that I feel as though I was able to start fully overcoming it. So let's go ahead and get started. So I talked to you guys about California. So now we're in Florida. Like I said, middle school was a hot mess. I was bullied incessantly especially by this one girl named Sheila. But the thing about it was that there were other people that were not as mean as Sheila, but they didn't really stick up for me. And I didn't stick up for myself. I had deep, deep insecurities. High school, though, like for some reason, high school, there was a complete shift. I went to a high school in Fort Lauderdale. Shout out to Stranahan, to the Dragons. I went to a high school, and for some reason, all the friends I had in middle school that I took to high school and then developed new friends, we were like the nerds. We were like, people, we were really smart. We were in the gifted and honors program, but we were at a magnet school, and it was like really cool to be smart at that time. So I was like in the quote unquote in crowd. And we were not like one of those exclusive in crowds that like try to, look down on other people. We just had a really good time. My friends were dope people. High school was great. Like high school was like 4 of the best years of my life in terms of my education. I was very, very confident in myself. Like I said, we built each other up. It was just good times. It was good times. However, with some of my closest friends in high school, I remember still there being this like anxiety of, are my friends treating other people better than me? And how come I, wasn't invited? And how, like, there was always this underlying sense of, when is this all going to fall apart? Like someone's going to pull the rug out right from under me at any moment. And I passed that insecurity onto my friends, and they were like over me. Like, these are my close friends. They were like, Kim, like, we're your friend, like, calm down. Like, everyone's not always trying to leave you out. But like, that had a lot to do, I think, with my father and that whole situation. But other than that, high school was great. College, I'm going to do an entire episode about college. College was a mess. Like, first of all, it was pre-med at the University of Miami. At the University of Miami, everyone is pre-med, so it was like a lot of competition. I have friend drama. It was like, I'm going to do a whole episode at some point about my college experience because it really was foundational to who I am today. But to give you just like a sneak peek into it, I, at that point, from college to medical school, began attracting people who I had no business being friends with. I'm not talking about, party animals or people who were doing the wrong thing. I was attracting deeply, deeply, deeply insecure people into my orbit for some reason. And not only that, but when I saw their insecurities and when I saw hints early on in our friendship that maybe I should not be hanging out with this person or chilling with this person is toxic, this person is not for me, because of my own issues, because of my own issues with like abandonment and stuff that I believe carry over from my father, I pushed those things to the side and I ignored so many warning signs in my friends that ended up like really biting me in the butt come junior and senior year. So I ended up junior and senior year with like the friends I started with were not the friends I ended college with. Lots of hurt, lots of pain. Like I said, I'm going to do a whole episode on that, but just like remember, it's just a theme that carried through in my life. I was attracting deeply insecure people who would then like sabotage me, but like smile in my face. It was a disaster, y'all. It was a college disaster. It ended well. I pledged my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to the sorors. We just had our Founders Day 2 days ago. So college ended pretty well. Right after college, I got an amazing job at the Area Health Education Center before I went to med school. Med school, again, when I do my college episode, I'll go through what happened in med school too. But med school was more of the same, attracting lots and lots of insecure people into my orbit and then ignoring the warning signs and then being bit in the butt. So med school was just, but I mostly want to talk about residency, fellowship, and faculty life. So many of you may be physicians who are listening to this podcast, but maybe many of you may not be. So residency is right after medical school. You are a physician, but you're still training. So the first year of residency is called internship. And that is the hardest year of your life, right? Because you're a brand new physician, but you still feel like a medical student. You have no idea what's going on, but then people are calling you doctor. It is a time. Let me tell you, like, having someone call you doctor and you're literally like, but I don't even know how to put in an order for Tylenol into the electronic health record. Like bananas, y'all. Totally bananas. So let's talk about residency. I matched into my number one residency program of choice, Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is actually pretty much the best children's hospital in the country. It's like up there, one or two or three, like, it rotates with one of the other two children's hospitals for like who's number one. But anyway, I matched into that program. I was so excited. I started residency with Israel being 3 months old. So like there was that additional stress and drama of I want to be with my baby and with my husband, and I can't be because I'm taking call in the hospital every fourth night and staying up for 30 hours at a time. So stress, y'all, stress, lots and lots and lots of stress. But I honestly thought that I felt like I was managing it. Like I felt like, I'm not the best intern, but I'm certainly not the worst intern. And I mean, I wasn't necessarily getting super negative feedback. I just felt like I was like hanging in there until December of my intern year. So I'm about 6 months in. I'm on my neurology rotation. It was neurology and neurosurgery. And I will never forget, after a particularly harrowing call night, my attending sitting me down at 12 noon. I had been up all night for 30 hours, no sleep. My attending sits me down and says, I want to give you feedback. So first of all, never give someone feedback when they've been up for 30 hours. Like that is just basic. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm an attending now. Attending means the main physician who's training the other physicians. I'm an attending now. I would never give somebody feedback who's been up for 30 hours. Like everything is going to get blown out of proportion because you're exhausted. Okay. So anyway, dude was like, I need to give you feedback. Okay. I sat down. He said to me, he starts asking me questions about my life. So I'm like, oh, wow, this attending is like really interested in my life. That's really cool. He says to me, you have a child, right? And I'm like, yeah, I have a son. He's 9 months old. He's like, okay. And So 9 months old. So that means you had your child during med school. I'm like, yeah, like March of my 4th year, but March of my 4th year, it was when I had my son. He's like, yeah, I can tell. And I was like, okay. He was like, you obviously didn't learn everything you needed to learn in med school. So like my heart is like starting to drop. Like I'm like starting to tear up. Right. And he was just like, yeah, obviously, your 4th year when you should have been focused on like, learning everything you needed to learn for intern year, you were obviously busy with your child. And I mean, that's fine. But, there's work that we need to be done here. And I'm not saying, guys, I'm telling you like verbatim, this next line, I was paraphrasing earlier, but this next line was verbatim what this man said to me after I hadn't slept for 30 hours. He said, I'm not calling you stupid or anything. Y'all. So basically, he called me stupid. That's basically what he called me. If you're telling me you're not calling me stupid or anything, basically you're saying you're calling me stupid. Guys, I left the hospital that day I had never to that point felt such despair and just like overwhelmed. And I was a mess. I went home to my husband, went home to Adrian, and this was the first and only time I said to him, I may need to think about other options in case this whole being a physician thing does not work out. Devastated, completely and totally devastated. Not only that I would receive bad feedback, but then also just that the way it was done, and I was exhausted. So again, perhaps I would have taken this differently if I had been well rested, but I was exhausted. So like, it just seemed so overwhelming. I cried and cried. I was like, I am leaving my family at home every day to come and bust my butt for 30 hours only to be told that I'm stupid. Oh my goodness. I really thought I had made a huge mistake with this whole medicine thing. So fast forward to a couple days later, one of my senior residents, so she was a 2nd year resident, I was a 1st year resident, right? I was an intern, and she was super nice, very shy, like kind of quiet, but very competent. And I felt like I clicked with her because she reminded me a little bit of myself. Like she wasn't like the outgoing, like talkative, super talkative intern resident, but she got her stuff done. She knew her stuff. People respected her. So I said to her, I sat her down and I was like, look, I really need you to tell me the truth. I had this horrible feedback from our attending yesterday or 2 days ago. Please tell me what you see in me. Like, what is the truth? Like, how do you see my performance? And what can I do to get better? This young lady, I will never forget her. Her name was Jaina. I need to find her. I'm pretty sure I can find her because we have an alumni community within Cincinnati Children. So I am going to find her and I am going to tell her how much of an impact she has had on my life so many years later. This is now 10 years later, guys, but she has had such a huge impact on my life. She said to me, I was very much like you when I was an intern. And once she said that, I already felt so much better, right? Because I'm like, okay, I knew it. Like, I knew she kind of like, we had like sort of like similar personalities. She said to me, I was very much like you. When I was an intern, I was shy. I'm an introvert, and I am definitely an introvert. She was like, I'm an introvert. And, I was very unsure of myself. But then I realized that confidence begets confidence. So if you are not confident, your attendings are not going to be confident in you, and your patients are not going to be confident in you. You have to be confident. And so I said to her, okay, that wasn't what that part was not that life altering. I was like, okay, I understand that, but I don't know how to be confident. I'm an intern. I don't know anything. Like, how do I get confident? To me, it seemed at the time like confidence was going to come with time. How could I be confident when I don't know? I literally don't know anything. I'm learning new things all day long, every day. Like, how can I be confident? And she said something to me that just changed the game, changed my whole residency experience, and laid the foundation for the principles that have led me to become productive on my purpose. And that is what we're going to discuss next episode. But what she said to me was, you have to act confident in order for the confidence to come. And I looked at her, I was like, come again? Like, huh? I don't get it. I don't understand what you're saying to me. And she said, what you are telling me is that you want to wait until you get the requisite knowledge and skills and experience before you can become confident. And I am telling you that if you become confident, if you begin to act confident and carry yourself with an air of confidence and answer questions confidently and be a confident person, you will become that, even if you don't feel that right now. Even if you don't feel confident, you need to change your behavior. And I was intrigued at this point because I'm like, okay, but I still don't know how to do that. I was like, okay, if someone asks me a question, if an attending asks me a question and I don't know the answer, right? What do I say? Like, if I don't know the answer, like, how can you be confident in your ignorance? Like, I don't know. And she said to me, okay, let's say she asked me, what is your next rotation? What are you going to next month? And I said, I'm going into the emergency room. She's like, great. This is perfect. This is the great opportunity for you to exercise this confidence. And she said that, she was like, exercise it. So this is the first time I started thinking about confidence as a muscle that you can exercise and build. She said, okay, the ER is super fast paced, right? You're going to be asked, you're going to go see a patient, you're going to come out, and the attending is going to ask you, okay, what do you want to do? What do you think? What do you think is going on? If you don't know, say what you do know. And then if you don't know, put yourself out there confidently and say, I think we should do XYZ. She said to me, you are going to be wrong most of the time. Because again, I'm an intern. I don't know what the heck is going on, right? I'm learning and growing every day, but I don't know everything. And she was like, you're going to be wrong most of the time. But just the fact that you put yourself out there confidently, attendings are going to say, okay, well, I wouldn't do that. Let's do this. And that's learning. If you put yourself out there and they say, no, we're not going to give that antibiotic, we're going to give this one, then you've learned. And so the next time, right, you're going to know the correct antibiotic. Furthermore, your attendings are going to be impressed just by the fact that you gave an answer and you gave an educated answer. Don't just guess, right? But even if you don't know, you can give an educated answer and you can say, I don't know this and I'm going to look it up and figure this out. But do it with confidence, because confidence begets confidence. If you act confidently, you will become confident. And I was very skeptical. I'm going to be honest. I looked at her. I was like, ma'am, what is this you're telling me? But I went into the ER and guys, it worked. That was December of my intern year. From January of my intern year through to the end of residency, where I actually won one of the residency awards at the end for being an inspirational role model, I was highly regarded. I was my not only by interns once I became a senior, by the first years, but also by medical students, by my attendings. I had great relationships with them. They would trust me. My name was floated to be chief resident. I didn't want to be chief resident. So I was like, nope. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was true. Everything Jana said to me was true. Confidence begat confidence. And a lot of times I still didn't know what to do, but I would still put myself out there. And then I would learn from the experience. And now I knew next time. And now I was even more confident. And so I started to learn that confidence is a muscle. I also learned that I had deep imposter syndrome. Deep imposter syndrome that I needed to overcome. Now, I began to overcome that through my whole exercising my confidence, right? So that was great. But then, so I ended residency. I had an amazing experience in residency. From the December or January of my intern year on, like, I had no issues. I got great evaluations. Residency was amazing. I love and adore Cincinnati Children's. I'm so grateful to this day for the training that I received there. It was second to none. It was amazing. So, finished residency, got recruited in Miami at the University of Miami to be a fellow, and stayed on for faculty. And I always wanted to move back home because snow is not it. Sorry for all of you guys who love the snow or who live in cold areas. It's January. I feel your pain because I've been there, but it's just, I can't. I can't do it. I cannot do it. So came back to Miami. And this is where the imposter syndrome really started to rear its ugly head. I would self-sabotage everything. I mean, I would wake up in the morning on time, but then lay in bed until I was late, running, frazzled, scrambling around. Why? Like, what are you doing? It was crazy. So, okay. I want to explain to you the depth of my dysfunction at this time. So initially it was just Adrian, Israel, and myself. But I'm telling you, I would wake up every day without a plan. Like, I didn't know what I was going to be doing that day, especially when I wasn't in the hospital. So I'm a faculty member. And I'm a hospitalist. I'm a pediatric hospitalist. So what does that mean? That means that I treat the kids, sick kids, and also newborn babies in the hospital. So I do a week at a time. So I do 1 week where I'm like on call 7 days, and then I might have a couple of weeks off before I'm on again. So when on the weeks that I was on, I knew where I was supposed to be. Wake up, you go to the hospital. The weeks I was off, I'm supposed to be doing things like teaching and doing my research and writing papers and having meetings and things like that. Sometimes covering clinic. I would just go to bed, wake up, and then just be like, okay, I guess I got to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing today. No plan. As a result of that, I didn't really want to get out of bed because I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. I was frazzled. I would snooze. I would snooze my alarm clock like every 9 minutes, like 6 times. Right? So then I wake up, I'm late, I'm frazzled, I'm yelling at my son, I'm annoyed with my husband, just bananas, absolutely bananas every single day. There were days that they would call me from clinic and be like, where are you? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, you're supposed to be here. I'm like, well, oh no, crap. Okay, let me hurry up and drive down there. I mean, a frazzled mess. I would get so anxious that I would just scroll social media all day long. Anytime I felt any twinge of anxiety about opening emails or going to a meeting, I would just open Facebook, open Instagram, and just scroll incessantly, just because the mindless scrolling took my mind off of the internal like turmoil and anxiety. A mess. Nevertheless, I was hired to be a faculty member. And that's the thing. That's the thing about us as high achieving women, especially high achieving women of color. We still perform. We still can do all of the things and do them well. I was highly regarded. I mean, we do all of those things super duper well. But deep down inside, we know that we're not living up to our full potential, and we know that we can do more. But other people looking on like, oh, she's great. I was hired to stay on as a faculty member, and the cycle continued. During my very first year of being a faculty member, I became pregnant with my second child, my daughter, Sela. We were very, very excited. We just moved into a new rental home in a city that we were in a community in South Florida that we were really excited about. So I felt like things were really looking up. I felt like, I'm pregnant. We were trying to get pregnant. We got pregnant. We moved. I was a new faculty member. Like, things were looking up until January of 2016 when my mother became ill. It was like she had been healthy basically her whole life. And then just like, it was literally like a freak situation. Like, I could explain it, and I probably will explain it on future episodes, but that would make this episode about an hour and a half. So I'm just going to give you like the basics. She got really, really sick and ended up with an ostomy, had her entire colon removed. It was just like out of nowhere. Like, you're well and then you're not. Almost died, was septic. I mean, it was a horrible period of time. She was intubated in the ICU for several days, had to go to rehab. That began a period of a year and a half of my mother being ill, in and out of the hospital. She was basically mostly in the hospital more than she was out of the hospital during that year and a half. She suffered so much. Again, I don't want to get into it on this episode because it's still, just talking about it now is making me a little bit emotional and teary, because again, this is my mother who was my everything and my hero. And to see her suffer like that was it was the hardest thing I've ever done. At the same time, I'm pregnant. So I'm already emotional, right? I'm pregnant. My mom is sick. Then I have my newborn. I'm trying to breastfeed. It was, y'all, this year and a half from 2016, from January 2016 to July of 2017, when she passed away, was the hardest year and a half of my life. The hardest. I mean, just overwhelmed on another level. So all of those behaviors that I was doing even before she got sick, imagine now, after she's sick. I would be at the hospital with her. They'd call me and be like, where are you? You're supposed to be seeing patients. I mean, I had not a planner. I didn't have a planner, which if you know me now, you know that that's like almost blasphemous. I always have a planner. I'm looking at my planner right now in front of me on my desk in my office. So I had no, like, I was a shell of myself, overwhelmed all the time. And then she passed away. So imagine the grief and the pain, right? Of like, my mother suffered and then died as a result of this illness. I'm still dealing with the baby. I'm still breastfeeding. I had just been promoted to a new position at my job. So not promoted in terms of a faculty promotion, but I was given a new role within the educational department at my medical school that I was really excited about. My mom died July 12th of 2017. I took an entire month off from work, and my colleagues, my coworkers were amazing about facilitating that. Came back to work in mid-August, right? And I thought I was obviously still grieving. I was obviously still sad, but I thought I was functioning. It was almost like back in residency where you think things are going well, but then you get feedback that, oh no, they're not. And I had a colleague, we were doing we were co-leading the same course, and I'm not going to get into details because I believe that I just don't want to get into details. Plus, some of my coworkers are probably going to listen to this podcast. So I don't want to rehash things. This particular lady, she's not even at my med school anymore, so I'm not going to go there. But let's just say that I got fired from that position about 3 months into it. It was, the way it was done was totally, it was, I would say 80%. I would say, okay, let me be honest. It was like 70% their fault, her fault, and about 30% my fault. Her fault and their fault, meaning the lady I was working with and others above us, was that I kept reaching out for questions, concerns, asking, trying to do what I needed to do. And it was almost like I was being told, like, you should be able to figure this out. You should be able to figure this out, which is not helpful when you're in a brand new role. So like, there's that. But then there was also me, and I want to focus on me. And that's why I don't even want to talk about this lady, because it's like, she's a non-factor. Me. I was a grieving hot mess, but thought I was okay and thought I was able to like juggle all these different roles and responsibilities, but I wasn't healed at all. I had no therapist. I was a mess, but thought I was functioning well. And I wasn't. So it wasn't until I got fired from that, not fired from my job, but just like removed from that role about 3 to 4 months after accepting the role, that I don't know that I was clinically depressed, because I did not seek an evaluation. I would say I had an acute stress reaction, at least, if not major depression. I don't know that I was super depressed. I don't know. But the anxiety and the feelings of imposter syndrome went to another level, as you can imagine, right? I mean, now I'm like touted as being like, oh, she's so great. And then I'm like removed from this role 3 months into it. But at the same time, it's like, again, that's why I say a lot of the problem was me, but a lot of the problem was them. Like, how do you expect someone to fully function in a brand new role right after losing their mother, and they're asking for support and you're not giving it? So it's like, whatever. It is what it is. It happened. I spiraled. I was not. It's like that period of time from like maybe like September, October 2017 till December, I was not productive on anything. Purpose, not even at home. It's like I couldn't even figure out how to like cook meals for my kids. We were eating out all the time. It was just a disaster. I was a wreck. And the social media just went to another level. A totally another. I mean, I was on there all day long. All day, every day. Because again, I'm like super anxious about what's going on at work. So what's the mindless thing I can do? I don't really watch that much TV. It was social media. December of 2017, it's like I hit a breaking point. I remember sitting at my desk in my office, and I put up a status on Facebook. And I said, have you ever just been so, I don't remember, I have to try to find the status, but I think it said something along the lines of, have you ever been so tired? I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was something along the lines of, I am just so exhausted. And people were reaching out. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I felt that before. And I don't know why, but I just hit a breaking point. And I closed Facebook, I closed Instagram, I deleted the apps on my phone, and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I believe it was divine intervention that made me do that. And that started a period of about a year-long social media fast, which was the best thing that ever happened to me. It's the best thing I ever did. During that social media fast was when I found my therapist. During that social media fast was when I learned about the 5-second rule, which I'm going to do an entire episode on the 5-second rule. But essentially this idea of overwriting your negative thoughts and like getting stuff done. That's when all of this kind of solidified for me. And I worked on it, but it wasn't until 2019 that I developed my morning routine and my gratitude routine that I do every single day, that I feel like I was fully able to break out of, let me not say fully able to break out, because it is a struggle. Every day is still a struggle. But I feel like I began becoming productive on purpose. I started a blog with my husband, wife, Dr. Life, which morphed into Productive on Purpose. Once I started getting really great feedback about sharing my struggles with imposter syndrome, sharing my struggles with procrastination and anxiety, and all of that stuff. So I am now in a really, really good place. Every day is not perfect. I still have days where I just like scroll social media. I still have days when I'm like unsure of myself, when I'm not using my planner. But more than not, most days are great, or I feel like I'm being productive. And even if I'm not, I don't beat myself up as much. And the whole purpose of this podcast is to share with you how I was able to get to this point, how I was able to move from not being able to get out of bed in the morning, waking up frazzled every single day, how I was able to move from that to 2019, where I won 3 teaching awards, where I was, invited to be a keynote speaker, I think 4 or 5 different conferences, one of which I spoke to over 1,600 people, and was able to overcome my fear. I was so scared that same attending man that told me I was stupid was going to be in that audience. I'm pretty sure he might have even been in that audience, and I hope he was, because I killed that presentation. Okay. Was able to pay off all my revolving debt, was able to publish about 4 or 5 articles I had been sitting on for years because I could not get the momentum to do them, was able to submit them, was able to get 2 book chapters published, was able to purchase our first home, which I never thought would happen. I literally at one point was like, am I just never going to be a homeowner? Because I just couldn't even get my stuff together to be able to do that. And now I'm sitting and recording this podcast in the office, looking out of the window at the palm trees in January in my beautiful home. And I'm not saying any of this to brag. I am saying, because I am not a bragger. If you know me, I don't brag about things. I am saying this because so many of us as high achieving women of color, on the surface, it looks like we have it all, but we know there's so much more we can do. And we sabotage our own efforts with our perfectionism and our procrastination and like all of that stuff. And I'm saying that was me, that is me, but this is me overcoming that. And all of what I mentioned just now is a testament to the fact that you can overcome this. It is not easy, but it is also not impossible. And I want to be that friend that's with you, holding your hand every step of the way. We are going to do this. You are going to look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come. When I first started listening to this podcast, I was a mess. And now look at me. I want that for you. I want that for you so much. If you are listening to this, I am with you. We are going to do this together. There are going to be hard days. There are going to be amazing days. But at the end of the day, I want you to feel like you are being productive on your purpose. We were all put on this earth for a reason. And it is past time to start living that reason and sharing our gifts, our God-given gifts with the world. And that's what I feel that I was placed on this earth to do, to be with you as we walk on this journey together. Listen, you're not going to be able to get rid of me. All right. Like, we're going to do this. We are going to do this together until we get it done. And then we're going to keep doing it together even after that, and pull up the next group of women below us until we are all walking in our purpose. This world needs us. This world needs you, your gifts, your talents, your treasures, your mind, your heart, your purpose. It needs you. We need you. I need you. I literally need you. You might have a gift that's bubbling on the inside of you that could help me, that could help my kids, that could help this world. I am not going to rest until we are all of us that are in the squad are here walking in our purpose fully in purposeful abundance, and then pulling up the next set of women. Everything I do is going to be giving. I am here to give to you so that we can all do this together, because someone gave to me. My beautiful, beautiful mother gave to me so that I could give to you. That amazing resident in residency gave to me so I could give to you. All of my patients and what they give to me on a daily basis, my friends, my amazing husband, my children. It is time for me to give back, and I want to pour this into you. I want to pour into you so that you can start living your purpose. All right, I'm gonna let me take it down. I got really emotional there. And listen, I'm a crier and a hugger. So if you ever meet me or you see me out and about, I will probably give you a really big hug and we'll probably cry together, because that's just what I do. So, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. You'll hear more about my story. Like I said, I'm going to infuse it, into the episodes as we go. But I wanted to give you a general overview of Dr. Kimmy and how I got to this point. So next week is going to be a good one. Next episode, because I'm actually going to drop all these episodes at the same time so you can just listen to them all at once. But next episode, I want to start giving you an overview of the strategies that I used to begin walking in my purpose. And guess what? We do things differently here on the Pop Podcast. I am not going to be out here talking about affirmations and affirming your way to greatness. No. I am also not going to be out here telling you and yelling into the mic, you need to do the work. Stop being lazy. You have a bad character. You need to get it together. No. Yes, there's work that needs to be done, but I am going to lay it out for you and give you the tools and the strategies that I have utilized to overcome imposter syndrome and begin walking in my purpose. So next week, I'm going to give you an overview. Next episode, I'm going to give you an overview of all of those strategies. You really, really want to tune into that. Again, thank you for being here. Please leave a review in Apple Podcasts. I would really appreciate it. Head on over to the website, www.productivepurpose.com, and download all the free resources. Just grab all of them. We have our habit building masterclass and workbook, and we have our planning for procrastinators guide so that you can start planning the life and executing on it and walking in your purpose. And I'll do entire episodes on habit building and planning and so many things. If there is a particular topic that you would like for me to talk about, please, I would love it if you would shoot me an email, and I will be responding to all of my emails. Shoot me an email at contact@productivepurpose.com. That's contact@productivepurpose.com. You can also find me on the Instawebs on Instagram at productive_on_purpose. Shoot me a DM. I'm always on Instagram. Instagram is my platform of choice when it comes to the Pop Podcast. So shoot me a DM. Let me know what are the areas you're struggling with? How can I help you overcome imposter syndrome and procrastination in your life? How do you want me to walk with you to help you achieve your purpose? Like, let me know. And I have actually women reaching out to me on a weekly and sometimes even a daily basis asking me about coaching. So I do want to say that right now I am not doing one-on-one coaching. I do have a couple of coaching clients that I am currently working with, but I will not be doing one-on-one coaching right now just because I still work a full-time job. I'm a full-time wife and I'm a full-time mom. And as you guys can tell, I pour a lot into everything that I do when it comes to this particular topic. So it's a little bit time intensive for me to do one-on-one coaching. So some of you guys have been reaching out to me about that, and I'm not able to do that at this time. However, there will be opportunities to work with me in the future. And I'm just going to leave it there for now, but there will be opportunities to work with me in the future so that we can really, really go deeper, even deeper. I'm going to go deep on this podcast. Like I'm going to put everything on the table. I'm going to go deep, but there's going to be even more opportunities to work with me on a deeper level. And I will give you information on that in coming episodes. If you are interested in that, again, shoot me an email. I will add you to my email list. And then that way you will be able to be the first ones to know, because any type of coaching, group coaching or courses or anything that I do in the future is going to be a limited number of women, because like I said, I want to go deep. So each cycle I'm going to do is going to be limited. So you really, really do want to be on my email list. When you sign up to get the planning guide or the habit masterclass, you will also be added to the email list. So that's another way to get on my email list. But my email list, y'all are like, they're like the squad. Like y'all are going to get all of the tea early before everyone else does, even before Instagram does. And Instagram is like my fave, but you guys are going to get it first. So you really, really want to be a part of the email list. All right, guys, we're at almost 51 minutes. So a longer podcast episode, but I actually really enjoy podcasts that are longer because I have a long commute to work. So I like to just be able to sit and listen to the entire thing while I'm driving. Let me know, shoot me an email or a DM and let me know how long is like a good length. When I did this, I asked you guys on Instagram before I started the podcast, and you guys said like 30 to 45 minutes. So this one is a little bit longer than that, but I actually prefer longer podcasts. Let me know if you do too. Thank you for being here. I will see you next time where we are going to go over our POP principles. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to the Productive on Purpose podcast. Now, take the next step. Head on over to www.productivepurpose.com to download your free Planning for Procrastinators workbook. It's time to start walking in our purpose, y'all. I'll catch you on the next episode.